It's Thursday, May 16th, 2024. I want to thank every one of you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Share these videos everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue to wake people up. So much is taking place. I want to get right into the news today. Markets were pretty much flat today, finished in the red across the board, but somewhat flat. The Dow Jones did touch 40,000 today, which is a record. And let's face it, markets are at an all-time high right now. But there are a lot of people out there that believe that because markets are at all-time highs, that everything is good, that the economy is good, that the average household is good, that the consumer is good. That is the farthest thing from the truth. I want to ask every one of you today, and comment down below. Dow Jones touched 40,000 today. Markets at all-time highs. Is this changing your life one iota? Is it helping you one bit? What are you seeing in the real world? What are you seeing in the real economy? Is the stock market helping you at all? Or is it just helping the top 10%, especially the top 1%? I don't think it's helping the average person. I don't think the average person really cares that the Dow Jones touched 40,000 today. What they care about is how much is a gallon of gas, how much is a loaf of bread, a pound of chicken, a pound of hamburger, how are they going to feed their kids, are they going to have a job tomorrow? That is what is on their minds. A couple articles today. First one from CNBC. Average consumer carries $6,218 in credit card debt as more borrowers are falling behind on their payments. Americans owe $1.12 trillion on their credit cards. How in the world can anybody sit with a honest face and tell you and I that everything is okay, the consumer is strong? If the consumer is so strong, why do they have $1.12 trillion of credit card debt? It is unbelievable how destroyed the consumer is in this country now and how bad the U.S. economy really is. The consumer is not strong. The consumer is barely hanging on for dear life. The consumer is the weakest they've ever been probably in the entire history of this country. It is very, very bad. That $6,218 is up 8.5% year over year. And as I reported yesterday, 1 in 5 people are maxed out on their credit cards. Think about that. That's 20% of this country is maxed out with their credit cards. They don't work anymore. What happens to these people when they can no longer pay their utility bills or make a car payment or go to the grocery store with a credit card? How do they survive when they're tapped out, maxed out? We are heading into a very dark abyss here, ladies and gentlemen, and there are fewer and fewer people laughing now. You know, all these people who said that, you know, gold was going to go to $80 or $800 and silver was going to go to $8. And what they didn't expect was the weakness of the U.S. dollar. It's not that gold and silver are going up. It's this U.S. dollar and the purchasing power is going down. People were under the or in the mindset that free money was going to continue forever, and 0% interest rates would be around forever, and that it would have no effect on the U.S. economy like inflation. You can't dump $10 trillion into an economy and not expect to have inflation. You can't tell people not to go to work, not pay rent, not pay mortgages, and to give the free money and dump $10 trillion in the economy and not think that there's going to be huge ramifications. Now things are going to get very, very bad, and there's a huge price to pay for all the money printing and the 0% interest rates. There's a huge price to pay when you're just spending and spending and spending, going out and buying cars and buying iPhones and not making rent payments and taking vacations that you can't afford. How in the world did people think that this was going to go on forever, that the government was going to send them stimulus checks forever, that they would never have to go back to work forever? Unbelievable how people think. It really, really is. And a lot of these people just resorted back to credit cards, and now they're maxed out. Freight waves. April case data shows no improvement in freight demand. No signs of recovery in the freight cycle, it says here on Freight Waves. Shipments are down 4% year over year. They're down 6.3% over 2 years. What does that mean? Well, it means that if the trucks are not carrying loads and delivering loads to stores and warehouses. More than likely, that means that people aren't buying as much. Stores aren't ordering as much. They're not stocking the warehouses with as much. Less trucks, less trailers, less truck drivers. And this is going to be a problem if you're in the trucking industry. I'm sure it's probably very cutthroat. It's very competitive. I'm sure that a lot of the independent contractors have probably already given up. I'm sure a lot of people have been laid off or have just gotten out of the business completely. It is going to get very, very bad in the trucking industry with what we're seeing now with this data. People are buying less. They're shopping less. They're spending less. And so that means you probably need less truck drivers, right? Market Watch, Red Lobster may file for bankruptcy by the end of May. We know that they shut down around 90 restaurants, 50 permanently, 40 temporarily. This number is probably going to get much, much bigger. If they file bankruptcy at the end of this month, does that mean they're going to, I think they have around 650 restaurants. Does this mean they're going to close half of them? Another 100? They're going to close all of them? This is not good. This is a very, very bad sign for the economy. This is casual dining. And now people can't even afford to casual dine anymore. The restaurant, I mean, the trucking industry is just cutthroat. It's a rough business. The restaurant business now, cutthroat margins, 2 to 5%, labor costs exploding. You don't know if there's going to be a shortage tomorrow. You don't know if they're going to raise your taxes tomorrow. What's going to happen? The rules, the regulations, the taxation, all that. It's a tough, tough business. But Red Lobster is in trouble here. And think about all the little mom and poppers. We talked about this yesterday. If you didn't see yesterday's video, go back to it. There was an article that I was sharing yesterday, and it was mainly Los Angeles mom and pop restaurants and how they're struggling, and their margins are down 2 to 5% where they used to be 20%. Many can't even close because of the federal loans that they took that they're on the hook for. They have to pay back. They can't even afford to close. They can't afford to stay open. They can't afford to close. People are in a real predicament here. And when you lose mom and pop businesses, you lose mom and pop restaurants, what's left? Corporate America, corporate restaurants, Taco Bell's, Applebee's, Domino's, Burger King, McDonald's, all that garbage. Not the mom and pops. They'll be gone. And when the little mom and pop businesses are gone, then you have Costco's, you have the Walmarts, you have these big, massive corporate businesses on every corner. Have you noticed like every city looks the same? It has a Home Depot, and across from that it has the Lowe's, has a Costco, has a Taco Bell, and across from that it has a McDonald's, and then it has over there a Burger King. All these cities now look alike because it's all corporate shopping, corporate restaurants. And it is really, really sad to see small businesses and mom and pop restaurants closing down at an alarming rate. And think about how many we lost over the health crisis. They're not even telling us how many hundreds of thousands of small businesses and restaurants were lost that never came back. Really, really sad. Walmart says more diners are buying its groceries as fast food gets pricey. Walmart Chief Financial Officer John David Rainey said, the high price of fast food has drawn more shoppers to its grocery aisles. Here we go again. Corporate America is just going to feed off of this, and more people are going to depend on these massive corporations in order to buy their groceries, to eat food, survive, to buy a pair of shoes, whatever they're buying. The article goes on to say that people are ditching drive-thrus for Walmart. This is going to be very, very bad for businesses, for small mom and pop restaurants. It's probably even bad for some of the larger chain restaurants. People are now forced to just go buy their groceries at Walmart and eat at home. Walmart, at some point, is, I guess, just going to take over the world because people won't have any other choice to shop anywhere else. Everything else will be out of business. Restaurants will be out of business. So we'll all be, getting our food at Walmart. We'll be buying our shoes and our cheap Chinese-made clothes at Walmart, and we'll be more dependent on Walmart than ever before. Think about how many jobs and businesses have been destroyed because of Walmart. And I know that there'll be two people out there that tell me how important Walmart is to them. Yes, I get it. You live in a rural area and the closest thing that you can drive to is a Walmart. I understand that. But isn't it better when we actually have options, when we don't have these corporate monopolies that are just strangling small businesses and now restaurants? I'm no fan of Walmart whatsoever. Think about where all that stuff comes from that's on a Walmart shelf. It is coming from China. 90% of everything in a Walmart is coming from China. And we continue to make China more powerful, more rich, and we become less powerful, less wealthy, and more dependent on the system. And it's really, really sad. But hey, years ago, people were fine with, hey, I just want to get it at the cheapest possible price. I don't care. And so I guess now things aren't so cheap. Things aren't even that cheap at Walmart now, right? And when you look at how many jobs have been sent overseas and the amount of corporations and companies that went overseas, people were fine with that because we're going to get this stuff cheap. Well, now it's not so cheap, and now you don't have a job. Your job went over there, and the cheap stuff that's coming back here ain't so cheap anymore. So how do you buy not so cheap stuff anymore when you don't even have a job? People just don't get it. And remember, 70% of this country's GDP is based on consumption. We consume. We better pray to God that these countries, especially China, one day say, hey, we're not taking dollars anymore. We better pray to God that the these BRIC nations don't succeed and turn the tables on us and say, we don't want dollars anymore. Your dollars are monopoly money. These are physical assets. People work to make these products, to make these cheap clothes, these cheap shoes, to make all this cheap stuff that we put on your shelves in America. There is an amount of labor that goes into making this stuff, and you're sending us over this paper monopoly money that is completely worthless. At some point, these countries like China are going to say, no more. We want something real. And US dollars are not real. They're backed by absolutely nothing. What happens when that day hits America? And there'll be two people out there that will say that can never happen. I want everybody to think about the people that say, oh, that could never happen. Take a look what has happened over the last 3 years in this country alone and tell me that can't happen. Anything can happen now. We're in 2024. We just saw the global economy shut down for over a year. We saw a lot of crazy things happen that we thought could never happen. 50 years ago, half of China didn't even have electricity. Now, they're the biggest economy, the biggest banks, the biggest gold holders, the biggest manufacturers and producers on planet Earth. It didn't take very long for them to do that. So these people who think that, oh, that can't happen, this can't happen, no, it's impossible. You better wake up. You're crazy. You're playing out crazy. You obviously aren't paying attention to what's going on. You're probably the same people who said, buy gold when it comes down to $800 and buy silver when it comes back to $8. I hope nobody listened to these people because they have no idea what they're talking about. Jobless claims declined after last week's big surge amid New York chaos. The number came in today at 222,000, down from the prior week of 232,000. Question is, in November or after November, are these numbers going to look a lot different? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts on that. Here's another one from the Hedge today. What about the non-superstar companies that account for 85% of U.S. jobs? We can talk about the S&P 500, the Super 7, the Magnificent 7, whatever you want to call them. But what we're not talking about are the 6.4 million American companies and the 28 million sole proprietors in this country. Plumbers, builders, piano teachers, real estate agents, all these independent contractors defined as under proprietor's income. We don't we don't ever hear much about what's happening to small businesses. We just keep hearing about, oh, you know, this large company laid off this many, Tesla laid off, Apple laid off this many, Apple, Tesla, you know, all these big companies. We hear about, you know, how many they're laying off, if Walmart lays off, you know, some people, but we never hear about what's happening to the independent contractor, the proprietors, or the 6.4 million small American businesses. You know, they might have 10 employees and they've laid off 2, 3, 4, 5. They might have 2 employees, they had to let one go. If you're a real estate agent, you work for yourself, you may be making absolutely no money whatsoever now. We're not hearing about what's happening in mainstream America. And that is really, really concerning. We hear about what's happening in corporate America, but we're not hearing what's happening here on Main Street. And this is, 85% of the U.S. job market. How bad is it? It's probably really bad. I want to close with this last article. This was from the Daily Mail. Instant karma on New York City's streets. Attacker who tried to ambush couple walking their dog. He got instant karma. This guy got instant karma. If you saw this video, if you haven't, you can Google it. Go to Daily Mail, instant karma on New York City streets. Watching this video, this attacker is coming up on this couple and their dog. And the one gentleman, he's got a boot on from like a broken ankle maybe. And he's got like one of those little walkers that you put your knee on because he's wearing the boot. And so this attacker suspect thought that, you know, this was going to be easy pickings. This guy obviously has got a boot on. He's handicapped somewhat with his wife or girlfriend and dog. And so this guy comes up and tries to sucker punch this guy. And this guy caught him in the corner of his eye, turned around, and now they're wrestling. And the dude with the boot was able to take this guy down to the ground. And then he pulled out something like this. This, by the way, is the Night Stalker from TCal Knives. Tim was nice enough to send me this from TCal. I've had it for a while. I carry it all the time. I mean, just a really, 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 really nice knife. And I don't think that this gentleman in the article had one of these, but it probably would have been worse for the attacker if he did. But anyways, I bring this up because watching this video, it happened so quickly. And luckily, this guy caught in the corner of his eye the attacker coming up, was able to turn into him, get a hold of him. They went to the ground. And then the dude's wife or girlfriend jumped in. And while all this is happening, the good guy reaches for one of these and put 7 holes in the guy. 7 holes in the guy. And by the way, TCal does not pay me a dime. They were nice enough to send me this. So I just wanted to show this to you. Hopefully there you go. This is just a fantastic blade. If you can't carry a pew-pew, if you do carry a pew-pew like I do, I carry this with the pew-pew. This is insurance. But if this is all you can carry, fantastic. This is all it took. This guy put 7 holes in the bad guy with one of these. And if it was one of these, it probably would have been a lot worse for the guy. This is really just a piece of art right here, but an incredible tool. Again, TCal does not pay me a dime, but I love their products. Carry this all the time. Check out their website, TCal Knives. Tim makes a fantastic knife. But long story short, instant karma. Some people just will not be a victim. Some people will fight. And this guy with a boot on and his little walker just said, F it. And him and his girlfriend, wife, they went to town on this guy. And luckily, this guy didn't get cold cocked from behind because, that's very dangerous. That happens to a lot of people now where they get hit and then they hit the ground and they've got brain damage or they're dead. It could have been really, really bad. Luckily, this guy was, looking around, situational awareness. He was able to catch it right at the last second and dodge this haymaker and went into a wrestling match. And then from there, he got to this and it was game over. And I guess they detained the guy. And I don't even know if the guy's even alive at this point. 7 holes, man. That's brutal. But hey, you play dumb games. Sometimes you win dumb rewards, dumb prizes, right? So this guy won a very, very dumb prize. So it's very important to exercise situational awareness. Make sure you're training with your hands. Make sure you're carrying something like this or a pew-pew. And be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful. This stuff is happening every day. You do not want to be a victim. Make sure that you put the odds in your favor, that you give yourself the advantage when you leave the house, that you can take care of business. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. And as always, I look forward to speaking to each and every one of you. Thanks again.